speed bumps, tree roots. Oh boy. Not that fast, although it is pretty quick. Makes the eyes water. It's got to be quick enough. Park over here, shall we? Okay. We made it. Sludge is still intact. It's a good day. Good start at the very least. We are back here at the sawmill shed, or where the sawmill shed will be, as you can tell. We're getting a good start here this morning, hoping to get some work done here before winter settles in on us. Maybe not today, but probably in the coming weeks. I've got all 6 posts up, and you're probably going to notice the big ladder's up. So I had my big ladder up there, and I was using a circular saw to cut off the top of all these posts here. And I cut them off to the height they're going to be, and now they're going to accept a beam. Now what we've done here before is we've planned on using really long beams, and I decided to switch things up a bit. After doing a bit of figuring, talking to some people, I think this will be the best situation for my case based on the layout here. And so what I've done is I've changed up the plan. The beams will now run from side to side instead of lengthwise. And so that beam will go on those 2 posts. That beam at the end will go on those 2 posts. And then the beam on the sawmill will go on these 2 posts. And that way everything is as it needs to be. The layout is exactly as I want it. And it's going to give me my big opening here on the side where I want to be able to roll logs in. So the gable end essentially on the roof will now be right here. Whereas before, it was going to be on the end. And so this will change things up a bit. One thing you will notice here, the 2 posts at the end are a little bit lower than these other 4 posts. And so that just means that gable end, that roof, will continue down that way. It'll be a slightly lesser slope over there compared with here. Hopefully all that makes sense. If not, just hang on. We'll show you how it goes. Now, looking at the IBC cage, you're probably wondering, where's the firewood? Well, I grabbed one from my firewood operation and brought it out here because this is the way I'm going to lift these beams into place. I've read all the comments. I've talked to as many people as I could to try to get a good idea how to get beams up here, especially when the tractor won't lift it that high. And what I've come up with is this. I'm going to take beams, I'm going to strap them to the top of the IBC cage, and then I'm going to lift the whole works with the tractor forks. And then that will get it up into the air where it needs to go. I will then tack it into place with some connection points on top of the posts. I'll unstrap everything and I'll brace it. That's the idea I have rolling around in my head. Hopefully it goes as planned. The only concern that I have is I might need 2 IBC cages stacked on top of each other with the beam on it in order to get the height I need. We'll see what happens. Anyways, glad you're all here. Here we go. Well, just in time. I think a storm is rolling in, so we'll probably go take a sludge break. You don't have to twist my arm too much for that. Just have a look at what we've done here. These are going to be what hold the beams, obviously, securely in place. That's also going to be what is sort of safeguarding me from that beam falling while I'm inside the tractor cab. It'll sit right down in that little slot on both sides. At least that's the idea. Then I can get out of the tractor, get up there, secure it into place. But that'll be for next time, or at least after my sludge. And so hang on tight. We'll be right back. Well, kind of funny what the weather can do to your plans. As you can tell, it has not stopped raining since it started, and so it is real messy everywhere. You can see big puddles there and there. It's turning to mud. It's quite the day out here, but this is the opportunity I have. I only have a window available, and so today is the day. I've got all the equipment set up. What we're going to do here in just a second, using the tractor forks, we're going to put that beam on top of the IBC cages. Now, I ended up putting 2 IBC cages, one on top of each other. That's just going to give me a little bit more lift without having to have the tractor loader way up in the air. I was real close. I might have been able to make 1 IBC cage work, but I wasn't close enough that I felt comfortable. So I've got 2 there, and those IBC cages, and I'll try to keep you covered here. Those 2 IBC cages are secured together, and I went ahead and used some hose clamps to do that. And that way there's absolutely no way that they can come off of each other. And I'm gonna get this beam, as I said, on top of it. And then we're going way up high there. Those clamps are just there from a previous day where I had some adhesive drying. And so they don't actually have to be there at the moment, but I might leave them since it's pouring. I'll lift things up and over, and hopefully they sit nicely, the beam that is in the saddle there. And then we'll move on to the second set of posts, and then ultimately the third set. That is the goal. That's what we're after. As I said, it is one miserable day out here, but we're gonna make the best of it. You can always quit, but as I said, I've got a bit of a window of opportunity here, and some people see the glass is half empty. I can certainly say it's half full today. Here we go. Well, just as I got back in the tractor cab, it started pouring even harder, and there is a certain level where it starts to get too dangerous. And well, unless it quits here shortly, that might be that level. It wasn't nearly this hard just a few minutes ago, and now if you look outside and if you listen, it's absolutely downpouring. So I might hang out here for a little bit. I've got the sludgeroo still full, so I might hang out here for a little bit and we'll see what happens. I might get flooded out here. I'm sure many of you can relate. Oh well, could be worse, could be snow. Back in a bit. Well, quite the view up here. As you can tell, we're way up here in the trees. These beams are pretty high. I've got a lot of work ahead of me to get this framed up. This is just the start. I'm looking forward to finishing. First things first, so let's get some bracing on. Back we go. Well, I think that went pretty well. I'm certainly done for today. That was a huge effort on my part. I'm out here by myself, as you know, and all the stuff you see here, I have to plan out and execute without anybody else. And so getting it done and safely is one of my primary goals, and I think I've accomplished that today. Pretty happy with it, but I am pooched. What we ended up doing with the IBC cages was lifting those beams up. I've never done that before, but hats off to one of you who suggested it. in one of the previous videos. I read the comment and I thought to myself, you know what? I think that is it. That is something I want to try. And sure enough, it worked out very well. That was completely manageable. I was inside the tractor cab. You probably saw me really focused on what I was doing. Those beams are real heavy. They're a long ways up. And at the end of the day, safety is my number one. So I have to make sure that everything goes as planned. Now, as you saw me doing that, I want to just emphasize, I am not telling anyone else to go out and do this. You can do whatever you want. This is how I do it. And so you probably saw things you didn't like. Maybe you saw things you did like. Regardless, I strongly encourage you not to use this as a step-by-step guide. That's just what I'm doing. Anyways, we got things braced off here, and that is a good thing because now everything is nice and plumb. I'm talking the posts here. Everything is square and it's exactly where it's going to go. Now there are some more connections that I need to make up at the top of the beam and the post. You see I have those pieces of wood on each side of the beam. There's going to be some connectors there. There's going to be some through bolts. I have to get up there on a ladder. There's going to be 4 per post, and so that'll be for next time around. But for now, the post can't move, and so the beam can't move. But I certainly don't want to just leave it sitting there, so I'll tack a few nails in before I leave, and then next time around we'll get up on the ladder, get some holes drilled, and get those secured. Now everything went as planned. There's nothing really to report here that didn't go to plan, knock on wood. You never really do know how things are going to go until you actually get underway. And one thing I will tell you, I think it was this one, that end didn't want to go in, and I think the reason is that post is slightly off of that post. What I mean is alignment. So this one, it probably twisted just a little bit, so the top is just ever so slightly out of alignment from that one, and so I had to give it a good once over and help it get into place there. But that was the only issue I found. Everything else went nicely. Now, one thing I will mention here, my preference is lifting the post up, lifting the beam up when it's on the opposite side of the post is where my tractor is. And I did that in 2 out of the 3 instances. And the reason I have that preference, if that beam falls, it cannot fall and hit me because it hits the post. If it falls forward, I don't care where it goes. At least it's not hitting me. But that's my preference. And so you saw me do that on 2 of the times. Just another thing I have going here is a generator as well. I found that working by myself, if I can use my air nailer, it is light years faster, and it's a lot easier for me to hold the board with one hand and nail with the other than it is to try to hold with the elbow, hold the nail to set it, and use my trusty framing hammer. So that's how we're going to continue on. As I said, lots more to do here. It's so warm here today, which is crazy. Yesterday was below freezing. Today it's in the double digits, but we're going to get back at it. As I said, real soon we'll get the post connectors put up there, and then before long we'll be putting the rafters up. And as I look up there, I think to myself, that is going to be pretty high up there. Anyways, that's going to do it for me here today. I'm going to go dry out the socks and, well, put the feet up in front of the old wood stove after a nice sludge comes around. If you could do me that big favor, make sure you give this video the old like-a-roo. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And oh yeah, if you haven't seen the build from the beginning right till this point, make sure you check out the playlist. It's been a great project, albeit a bit tiring, but it's certainly worth checking out. See you on the next one.